See, I'm not an expert, and I'm first one to say I'm not an expert in most things, and doesn't mean you can't talk to them, but I think you should really, clarify some of that stuff sometimes. I'm not an expert in economics, and I don't know how every little thing works about stocks and businesses and everything. But I'll talk about, like, I used to work for a pretty big uh, circuit board factory, and actually I've worked for two of them. They were pretty good size, and one of the biggest things I learned was about profits with companies and how they see profits and how it's measured in different ways. So a friend of mine yesterday was talking about how, I guess, Target was reporting like a big drop in sales and lost profits and stuff like that. What I think people don't know is a lot of companies, and I don't know if it's all companies or whatever, they don't measure profits as in just making money. When they look at profits, a lot of them, it's in projected earnings. And a lot of times, that's because of loans. Because they get loans based off of projected profits, and if they can't reach those, then sometimes they don't get other loans and stuff like that. I understand stuff like that. That's how they get contracts and everything else. Like, I understand projected profits, what they are. Also, the fact that they use that to lay off people too. I didn't hit my projected profits, and a lot of it has to do with shareholders also. We didn't hit our projected profits. Well, how can we hit our projected profits? So we'll lay off a bunch of people, which is the biggest thing a lot of companies do towards the end of the year. That, or they false ship stuff and stuff like that, so they can charge customers and shit like that when they're never shipping. That happens a lot at the end of months and the end of years, depending on how the company reports stuff and everything else. But when people say profits from the company, in a cold hard way, like, not even counting how profits are wage theft, which they are at companies, because, and I guess I'll get into this a little bit, because, like, it's wage theft because you've already made your operations costs. You already made your total operations costs and stuff like that. That's before you even get any profits. That's when you break even. Like, you've made back the money you spent, you've made back the money to pay employees, all this stuff. Okay, you reach that level. That's level. Your profits are beyond that. So it's not even like companies will say, like, well, we can't give the company employees a certain thing because we need to bring profits to a certain thing. One, growth in businesses are one of the most crooked things in the world, because, like, your business doesn't need to keep growing for one thing. It can just level off and be a good business. You don't always have to be growing, because eventually, also, if you have no stabilization, you'll eventually just go out of business because you have no growth and all this loans and all that shit. But, okay, back to wage for profits. So, like, if a company is total operations cost is like, let's say it's 80 million, okay, but they made 280 million. That's $200 million past what they needed to stay in business and keep operations going. And the fact that most of that is never shared with employees. Employees, like, even bonuses at companies that get bonuses, it's always like, okay, we did good this year, so you'll get a bonus. Why ain't I getting a bonus every freaking day for what I do? Why isn't my work valued enough for me to be part of the profiteering from the business? Like, people will say, like, job creators should get all the money for the jobs, but the job creators, one, most of them don't even create their job. It's off of loans and fucking inherited wealth and everything else. But the job creators still can't fucking do it without the people that's working there. You have, it's like storytelling. You can have the best idea in the world if you can't fucking write it in a way that makes sense and and catches with the readers and the viewers and everything else, then it doesn't matter. I just don't fucking matter without being able to put the work in. And employees put the work in. So your profits, you didn't make those profits. Your employees made those profits. So shut the fuck up about employees didn't make it. But back to the fact of projected profits. Okay, so you hit your 80 million is operations. You hit 280 million is how much you brought in total. So you brought in $2 million over that. Your projected profits may have been like 90 million or something, like 900 million, whatever. It's way over your 80. Okay, you did 280. You got, let's say 980. So that was your projection, was 980. Well, you made $280 million. You're way over. What kind of good business are you running if you hit all your operation costs and stuff, and you got so much over that operations cost and profit, but you're going to lay off employees or do something because you had to make a bazillion times more than your operation costs, total operation costs, to keep your business afloat? What are you doing? Most of the time, and what I see in circuit board factories, they were taking loans because they didn't know how to fucking run a business. So they would take constant loans out to try to not make the business better, by the way, and not pay employees or hire employees who are better at their jobs, but to clean up their fuck-ups and executive issues. When it comes to, getting contracts or anything like that. So they're getting these loans and they're, getting money from different places because they don't know how to fucking run a business. So, we would have, situations when I talk about how you to make money, a lot of times to make projected profits, a lot of people sell, do fake sales, shipping sales. And everybody knows about the layoff thing, so they'll lay off. Oh, we're like $2 million off on our projected profits. So what we'll do, we'll lay off, and if people work 2 million hits there. Not counting the fact that then you got to hire people most of the time who don't know what the fuck they're doing, and then your company runs like shit. So, but that's just another way of not hiring people and paying them what they deserve for the skills they have and all that stuff. Businesses just aren't run worth fucking shit. They're just stupid. They're just rich people who really never had to struggle to start to begin with, and really didn't know anything except for my daddy has a wallet that can open up for me and stuff like that. Or I can get better loans because I'm a white guy trying to get better loans. All that shit has nothing to do with having any kind of processes about how to make your business successful. Most businesses in the United States are run by the same model as the United States government itself. It's only propped up as having any strength on the backs of workers and the pain the workers feel. Most businesses in the United States would not be in business if workers weren't exploited. And they fucking know that. And they don't give a fuck. That's how you'll have things like I was talking about, fake false shipping. We would, at the end of every month, because our earnings things was every month, and then the big one was at the end of the year. We would, because our customers paid as soon as we shipped stuff. So, like Amazon and places. So we would put in the system, we shipped something, it was still in the middle of the fucking production floor. It had never been going out. So what would happen is okay, we made those profits that much. And we continue this cycle every single month. Then the customer would get pissed and say, you need to ship stuff. And then we would ship stuff. Or we would ship stuff we knew wasn't working and had all the parts or whatever. and the customer would ship it back to us, and then we'd have to pay for that, and then we would have to pay for the reworks, which would interrupt new product coming down the line and all this stuff. But this is a cycle from month to month. You fake ship, or you ship stuff that's not ready to go to the customer. Customer returns it, complains about that, and you're eating all these costs, and you do it every month, and then at the end of the year you do the same thing, but then you lay off employees, and it makes the stuff look a lot better, like you're making money. If that makes any sense. So like when people always talk about profits, like their projected profits this year, they didn't reach their projected profits, or they're down this much from this year to last. Did they hit their operation costs? Did they actually make money? Because that's the only way you lose, is if you don't make money. And then if you make money, employees lose because they don't get part of that fucking profits that they deserve.